The 1997 film Amistad brings the true story of a Cuban slave ship to life. The 19th century ship traveled back and forth between Africa and Cuba, subjecting hundreds of African men, women, and children to incomprehensibly deplorable conditions, and finally delivering them to a lifetime of servitude on Cuban plantations. Until one day, when their African prisoners killed most of the crew and gained control of the ship.
Slaves, Your Honor, are by rights the property of Spain, and as such, under Article 9 of said treaty, are to be returned.
Following the insurrection, the surviving crew and African occupants are brought by an American salvage ship to a court to decide their fate. At the onset of the court's deliberations, 3 different parties have property claims to the would-be slaves, revealing just how much of their humanity had been stripped away in the eyes of the public and the law.
Stand up. Thank you. Your Honor, I speak
A lawyer named Roger Baldwin decides to take the African survivors on as clients, and sets to work convincing the court that the Africans had been captured illegally and were not born slaves, which would render them free under the law.
Carry, stop, off-time gestures.
To argue the case, Baldwin uses a translator to allow one of the African prisoners a chance to tell his story in court. His testimony is not unlike those of other victims of human trafficking, and includes stories of degrading treatment, unspeakable abuse, and death en masse.
Give us free.
Your Honor, please instruct the defendant that he cannot disrupt these proceedings.
The story told by this movie is ultimately triumphant. In the end, the prisoners are freed. While the institution of slavery is much diminished today, the misery continues for millions of people who suffer under modern slavery in the form of coerced labor or marriage.
When I put it to you thus, this is the most important case ever come before this court. Because what it in fact concerns is the very nature of man.
During the trial of this case, it is remarked that there is no great society which has not been built on the exploitation of a less fortunate working class. But a society that respects human rights should take care that it doesn't benefit from slave labor. Industrialized prisons across the world are used to profit from the labor of the imprisoned. However, the comfort of the many should never be at the expense of an enslaved few.
The natural state of mankind is instead, and I know this is a controversial idea, is freedom.